It looks like it's Spätzle time again. Who wants to drop in? And welcome back to Cliffieland. This is Week in Country number 99 on our second attempt of cooking the food of every single country in the world. And tonight we're up to the nation of Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein, located in Central Europe, is bordered by Switzerland and Austria and is the 7th smallest nation in the world by land area and the smallest one to be bordered by only 2 countries. Also, curiously, a landlocked nation, it is one of only 2 doubly landlocked nations, meaning that it is landlocked by countries that are themselves landlocked. The only other one being Uzbekistan. Hey Uzbekistan! Since it is so small and is bordered by only those 2 countries, its cuisine and its history is very reflective of that of the food of Switzerland and Austria, as well as the rest of Central Europe. And in trying to find recipes for this, well, at this point we really do need to talk about what happened last time around. Well, 4 years ago on the Global Cooking Challenge, I was kind of stumped in trying to find more than one recipe for Liechtenstein because Liechtenstein suffers from that syndrome that certain countries do where you only really find one recipe that is indicative of that country. And we decided to do that one, which is Käsknöpfle. I hope I got the pronunciation right. It's the Liechtensteiner version of Spätzle or drop dumplings. It's pretty much the same as you'd find elsewhere, except theirs involves a particular cheese and some caramelized onions on top. Last time it came out really well, and I'm looking forward to doing it even better this time. In terms of the second recipe though, that one was really tricky. I wound up digging through the internet and finding a large PDF that had involved German language recipes, and I ran those through Google Translate and I came up with this one really vague recipe for Kalbsrahmgulasch or Veal goulash. I'm sure I mangled that pronunciation, I'm sorry. But basically it's a very basic recipe for a veal goulash. It came out okay last time, although the sauce was very liquidy, and well, we'll see what happens this time around. Oh, one more thing. When investigating the recipes, I also thought of trying a particular venison recipe I was able to find. However, that would have involved the venison, which is very expensive and hard to find here in South Florida, and that does require several days of cooking ahead of time, which I really didn't have time for, so I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to do that. Also, there's an applesauce I would have loved to do, but you'll see that in a couple of weeks when we get to Luxembourg. So at this point, we need to take a look and see what goes into those 2 recipes. First, for our Kalbsrahmgulasch or veal goulash, we'll need 2 pounds of pasture-raised veal shoulder cut into 1 or 2-inch cubes, a half a pound of onion diced, 4 tablespoons of olive oil, 20 grams or 0.71 ounces of paprika powder, 3 cups of water divided into 2 and 1 cup, the zest of half a lemon, the juice of half a lemon, 1 cup of sour cream, 20 grams or 0.71 ounces of flour, and salt to taste. And then for our Käsknöpfle or Liechtensteiner dumplings, we'll need 300 grams or 10.58 ounces of flour, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, a pinch, about 1/8 of a teaspoon, of nutmeg, a pinch, another 1/8 of a teaspoon, of ground black pepper, 3 eggs, 1/3 of a cup of water plus more to achieve a thick batter consistency, 1 large onion cut into thin rings, and 150 grams or 2.59 ounces of grated cheese such as Gruyere or Emmental. Okay, it's time to start cooking! In a medium saucepan, heat the oil over medium-high heat. Sauté the onions until softened, reduce the heat to medium, add the paprika, stir and pour in 1 cup of water. Bring it to a boil, add the meat, add the salt, stir, add the remaining 2 cups of water, lemon zest, and the lemon juice. Cover and cook over a low heat for about 15 minutes. Remove the meat and set aside. Meanwhile, in another bowl, place the sour cream and flour and mix those together. Add the mixture to the saucepan and then puree the sauce with a hand blender. Let simmer for 4 minutes or until it thickens. Return the meat to the saucepan and mix, and let that rest for 4 to 5 minutes. Taste and adjust the seasonings as needed. In a bowl, place the flour, salt, nutmeg, and pepper, and whisk them together. Then in a separate bowl, place the
eggs, and the water, and whisk those together. Add the wet mixture to the flour mixture and mix it well. Add enough water to achieve a thick batter consistency, thin enough to go through the holes of a colander or spetzel maker. Cover the batter with a cloth and let it rest for about 30 minutes. Meanwhile, in a skillet, heat the oil over medium heat. Add the onions and saute until lightly caramelized, about 10 minutes. Salt a pot of water and set it to boil. Place a spetzel maker, or barring that, a colander, over the pot. Spoon the batter into the spetzel maker or colander and push the batter through the holes with a wooden spoon. Let it drip into the water, and as the dumplings come to the surface, remove them and let them drain in a sieve. Sprinkle the cheese over the hot dumplings and mix until coated. Dress with the caramelized onions, wipe plates and serve. Ladle the meat and sauce into a serving bowl and serve family style.
How did that all turn out? First, we need to talk about that goulash and the recipe for it. Like I said, it was a really vague recipe that I ran through Google Translate. As such, there were really no specifics. And if I had the natural sense of a box of rocks, I would have known to do a few things independently of what was written in the recipe. First off, I really should have seared off that veal before I started cooking it. Secondly, I should have noticed that the onions were not mentioned in the actual recipe and thrown them in when they logically would be, i.e. step 2 after heating the oil. In doing this, I wound up doing that after the fact, which I'm sure affected the flavor in a certain fashion. In terms of the taste, the veal was nice, it was tender, but the flavor really was in the sauce, and there was a ton of sauce. But in the sauce, you got the flavors of the paprika and the salt and the hint of lemon. Still, it was kind of basic, so I'm gonna give that veal goulash 3 out of 5 globes. It was pleasant. It would have been better if it was, alongside something else, or if that sauce was on top of something else. Again, a combination of a really vague recipe and me not having the sense to figure some stuff out on my own. But moving on, the dumplings or spetzel or Käsknöpfle were delicious. The fact that I had that spetzel maker really did make all the difference, in that the dumplings were all the right size, they came to the surface very quickly, they had that really wonderful flavor of the Gruyere cheese, and a bit of sweetness from the caramelized onions on top really kind of took it over the top. So I'm going to give the Liechtensteiner spetzel or the Käsknöpfle 4 out of 5 globes, a really delicious dish that I really look forward to making some other time. So that does it for Liechtenstein. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time when we head up to the Baltics to try to redeem ourselves from the disaster we made last time when we tried the food of Lithuania. See you then. And remember, if you'd like to see our streams live when they happen every Tuesday night, be sure to follow us on Periscope or Facebook Live. Like and subscribe to be advised when these videos are posted. Remember, links to the original recipes can always be found in the About section. And if you have any thoughtful feelings or helpful suggestions about the food that we're cooking, let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching and happy eating!